Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Well, let's get down to business here. Good evening. It is good to see you. And as usual, I know it is good to see me. Let's talk about something. Let's talk about Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and Tom Brady. Yesterday, on Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, the sports spin cycle of the day was a story in which Robert Kraft supposedly revealed why he had to fire Bill Belichick. The reason was that he was tired of losing. It was of the soft spin type, so soft that Kraft made this admission on The Breakfast Club on October 11th, and no one in the media noticed it for 5 days. The platform he made it on, The Breakfast Club, is a self proclaimed black radio show full of bad grammar and mispronunciations, purposely emanating from adult men in their 40s. They believe this keeps them relevant with the black community, and sadly, their longevity bears them out. Kraft was there to align himself to the Democrat Party, and it was awkward at best. Now, the pandering to one another by the Breakfast Club hosts and Kraft was contrived and nauseating, but something interesting did come out of it. Kraft, as he is wont to do, waxed fondly over the many accomplishments of the New England Patriots that they had achieved under his ownership, such as before his arrival in 1994, there was only one playoff game ever played in New England in the club's 34-year existence. It was a 37-14 loss to the Houston Oilers in 1978. According to Kraft, Earl Campbell of the Oilers rushed for over 200 yards in that game. Further research shows it was only 118 yards. But hey, 56 years can easily distort a memory. I myself can attest to that. Then Kraft noted that in his 30 years as an owner, the New England Patriots had 31 playoff games and won 27 of them. He kept going down memory lane and eventually likened the end of the Patriots dynasty to a marriage, a relationship, or a situation that changes over time. Well, did it? I'm going to read and summarize what Kraft said in his own words, but I'm going to cut out the fluff and puff nonsense that epitomized most of the interview. Then I'm going to give you the truth of why Robert Kraft fired Bill Belichick, and you make the decision where it matches up. Robert Kraft. I had the good fortune to draft this guy by the name of Tom Brady. I also decided to hire a coach that everyone told me I shouldn't, and I kept them together for 20 years. I kept Bill Belichick for 24 years, and I didn't enjoy having to fire him. If you look at the press conference, I tried to do it in a classy way. You know, people need to adapt. Our record the last 3 or 4 years wasn't what I wanted. I had given him so much power. He had full control over everything, and shame on me. I should have had some checks and balances. If you're in the sports business, you either win or lose. There is no gray, and I hated losing. Then there was a question from the Breakfast Club. When Brady went to the Buccaneers, how did that hurt you? Notice the emotionality of the question with the verb hurt. These are supposed to be men talking about football. The verb affect would have been more situational for the moment. Like, when Brady went to the Buccaneers, how did it affect you? But remember the platform. Robert Kraft answered, he and Bill had some problems. Let's just say they weren't the best of friends. I negotiated his contracts with him for the last 12 years, and he always put the team first. He took less money, and we were able to get great support people, and we spent to the cap every year. When I did the last contract with him, I said, look, I won't allow Bill or the team to franchise you if you don't want to be here after this. He is one of the most amazing beings on the planet. He is a guy that when he steps into the huddle, he makes average players better. With Bill, he lived under an arrangement that was very difficult for him the last decade. But Tom is an amazing human being. Tom is part of my family to this day. and I love him dearly. Now, that is where it ends when it comes to football talk. But let's dig into what Kraft said. Let's dig into the reality, what he was said uh, versus the reality, like I had to do with the Earl Campbell assertion. Translation: I love Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick is a jerk and always has been. People told me not to hire him, but I rolled the dice on his football acumen, his incessant data gathering, and his attention to detail. Those three things, along with the arrival of Tom Brady, made for a football team, a winning football team. But his arrogance and his ego, well, that came with it. Bill has the ability not just to anger me, or my players, or the coaches on my team, but to anger players, coaches, and owners throughout the league. That was what Deflategate was about. They went after Brady to go after Bill. Tom Brady took less in salary because it was best for the team. He wanted to outfit the team with the best players possible. I'm not sure that Bill looked at it that way. He chose to spend most of that money on a number of average players and football projects. I am not the reason why Bill Belichick chiseled, nickeled, and dimed players when he didn't have to. That was all Bill. I spent up to the cap every year. The team won year after year. So I put up with Belichick's needless personal vendettas against many a player. I put up with a guy who wouldn't even call me, the guy who signs his checks on my birthday to wish me a happy birthday. The breaking point came when Bill pushed Tom Brady out the door for Cam Newton. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He pushed him out. Tom's asking price was $25 million a year, the same amount the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would later sign him for. Keep in mind that at this time, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and others were making $40 to $50 million a year. Tom Brady was giving us quite a discount, and it was well within our budget. But Bill didn't want to sign Tom at any price. He wanted him gone. Bill was of the mindset that he could replace anyone. But as we saw over the years, that's not the way it works. And it really blew up in his face with Cam Newton. I should have had better checks and balances in place to prevent that and a number of other selfish player personnel moves that had not benefited the team. That was my fault. After Tom won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay the very next year, I pushed Bill to go after a quarterback high in the next draft, something that he was against. But we drafted Mac Jones. Then I watched Bill sabotage his career by positioning a defensive coach as Mac Jones's offensive coordinator just to thumb his nose at me. That was the final straw. It would have been hard to fire Bill when the team was winning. The fans would have revolted. So I dealt with all the things I didn't like just to keep it going. But now that the team had suffered 4 straight years of losing, it was more than time. It was the best time to make a change. Now, that is what Robert Kraft wanted to say and how he would have wanted to say it. Those and more are the real reasons why Bill Belichick was fired. It was an accumulation of acts that Kraft had viewed as mean spirited and unnecessary that weighed upon his conscience, and it was time to wipe the slate clean. The relationship had actually never changed. It was dysfunctional from the beginning. A dynamic in the relationship had changed. The team had gone from winning to losing. And when the team is losing, every little slight counts. Even not calling the guy who signs your checks on his birthday to wish him well, which, by the way, Bill, is June 5th. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the translation of the spin. Let me know what you think. Adios and goodbye.